While many of us are busy recycling and avoiding plastic straws, there's one form of pollution skyrocketing like never before, and that is carbon emissions from private jets. Between year 2019 and 2023, emissions from private jets increased by a staggering 46%. Scientists from Linnaeus University found that private jets produced over 15.6 million tons of carbon emissions in the year 2023 alone. That's nearly the same emissions that 3.6 million cars would produce in an entire year. Now here's the kicker. Despite private jets being owned by only 0.003% of the population, they contribute a massive amount to climate change. This elite group has an outsized carbon footprint, one that's hard to ignore. Ultra-rich jet owners, including high-profile names like Taylor Swift and Jeff Bezos, took millions of flights last year. Just in the year 2023, private jets flew for nearly 26,000 hours across 4.3 million flights. And the emissions? Staggering. Taylor Swift's jet alone emitted 1,184 times more carbon than the average person. Each of these frequent flyers emitted around 2,400 tons of carbon in just 1 year. That's 500 times more than an average individual. And what's more surprising, nearly half of these flights were less than 310 miles, a distance easily covered by car or train. Around 5% of flights covered distances shorter than 31 miles. Most of these jets are concentrated in a few countries. 68% are registered in the US, and Malta has the highest concentration of private jets relative to its population, with over 46 jets for every 100,000 residents. We also see private jet use spike around major international events. During COP28 in Dubai last year, 644 private jets were recorded, adding 4,800 tons of carbon emissions. And the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar saw nearly 2,000 private flights, which produced around 14,700 tons of carbon emissions. Scientists like Professor Stefan Gosling argue that while private jets contribute a small fraction of global emissions, their concentrated carbon footprint demands action. Private jet emissions make up around 1.8% of all aviation emissions, but they're responsible for outsized environmental harm given how few people use them. So, what's being suggested? Gosling and his team propose a few solutions, introducing a carbon surcharge of around $600 per ton of emissions, increasing landing fees, and blocking leisure flights from being written off as tax-deductible business expenses. These changes would ensure the ultra-wealthy pay the true cost of their flights. These findings bring a critical question into focus. How do we hold these high emitters accountable for their climate impact? If we truly aim to tackle climate change, we must start with those contributing the most to the problem. After all, if the wealthiest aren't held accountable, how can we expect the rest of the world to take action? Let's push for policies that protect our planet and demand climate accountability from everyone, no matter their wealth.